Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another exciting Propagandacast with me, your host, ImperialDane, here as the Reich Defender of the Fatherland and Master of all propaganda. This is going to be a slightly short cast, a bit rushed. Yes, I'm still a bit busy though. This is more preparation for me heading home for the weekend. I actually sort of cast several games in one day, and that's rather late in the evening, and I also need to get something called sleep. So there you go. I mean, it's going to be a bit of a short game. I do hope you'll find it interesting. It's going to be a 1 versus 1 on Angoville. It's going to be featuring me. Yes, that's, well, obvious, I suppose. Fighting as the Panzer Elite, Panzer Grenadiers of the 2nd Panzer Division. Who shall be opposing me? It shall be Nonsensei. Yes, indeed. Rank 15 American. Pretty good, pretty good. Let's see how this one works out. Starts out with the usual Panzer Grenadiers right there, of course. Kittenkrad. Designed actually as a sort of light tractor for sort of airborne forces gliding in. That bit ended up sort of being used for taxiing vehicles and basically leaving us, well, still the light artillery tractor. We are seeing a... Well, oh, right, never mind. Thought he might have been going for a 1 engineer start, but no, he's not. He's going straight for the back, seeing it up. Of course, what might he be going for? That's the thing, that's the thing. Engineers getting ready. Panzer's getting equipped with a Guerrilla 43, small on the way. Kittenkrat securing the western side. He's also going for both engineers on the western side, so that's obviously going to be some sort of early conflict. However, shall it work out? I do not know. Further Panzer Grenadiers getting ready to assist the 2nd Panzer Division in their fight. Engineers rushing here, perhaps straight for the fuel point, hoping to seize it and hold it. And there we go, Panzer getting to spot the engineers, open up on them. And immediately set about hunting them down in their spiffy looking camouflage uniforms. And his first unit is a jeep. He's hoping for a sort of disruptive approach. Engineers are rushing in. So he's actually sort of hoping to rush my Panzer Grenadiers with engineers and using the jeep to sort of use something which is called pushing, which is going to make it a bit harder for my Panzer Grenadiers to really do anything, but there's some other Panzer Grenadiers there to support, which makes it less effective. And the jeep sort of gets the target priority here. And what do I decide? Well, if he can push around with his jeep, I can do the same with my Kittenkrat. Take that, you. And then it's then something unintended happens. The Kittenkrat gets stuck. And I mean, literally, it gets stuck. It can't move. I'm rather, what the bloody devil? That's not supposed to happen. I do manage to get an engineer team, but it's not quite the same as the loss of a Kittenkrat. He do push on, he's not giving up, but it might be a bit dangerous right there. And he got stuck. I'm a bit upset, and there we go. Damaged engine. No, this jeep might actually not survive. And we are now seeing some riflemen arriving to assist Nonsensei in his fight. No nonsense for him. And jeep desperately trying to back out. Engineers moving up to repair. Riflemen getting closer. And how shall this go? 2nd Panzer Grenadier Division. The 2nd Division Panzers get the jeep. And now just charging in at the Panzer Grenadiers. What do? Target these. His targets go for the engineers. They are softer. Much nicer targets. So there we go. Leaving behind on the riflemen. Panzer Grenadiers fight on nonetheless. Holding out quite nicely against these otherwise rather overwhelming numbers, I suppose. Although at the same time, I mean, that's... Well, I suppose it also applies to him, but I'm basically, unable to really take any territory at the moment. I've lost my Kittenkrat, and of course, any sort of territory being taken with the Panzer Grenadiers will not really get any faster. So, of course, he might be able to pull an advantage there if he follows up nicely. Although he still continues to hang on to the west. He's in fact completely ignored the east, but so have I. And right now being pushed back, and he's gotten another jeep to sort of do some nasty business. More Panzer Grenadiers moving in. And getting a replacement Kittenkrat. Engineer. Oh dear, all on his own. Poor Robert. While the jeep rather decides it might want to get away before it's... Well, that's a bit of a rare scene sight. 2 of the same part. And Panzer's basically immediately move in to sort of secure as much territory, since I'm rather well lacking in it, although our American friend is as well. Well, of course, he can use the rifleman if he decides to sort of quickly gain as much territory as possible, of course, since they capture a lot faster. They're one of the fastest capturing units in the game. So, slight detail there. Infantry half-track on the way. Panzer Grenadiers hiding, although again not for long. Don't want to get too complacent. Not too happy about just sitting in one place. Riflemen securing what they can, keep pushing up. Running into Panzer Grenadiers again. And pulling away. Obviously not a fan of Panzer Grenadiers with that Jeep. Panzer Grenadiers trying to hunt down the Jeep in their different camouflage patterns. Summer, autumn, and I'm not entirely sure what the third one is. Possibly swamp. Or it could be, I don't know, spring. Oh wait, Jeep pulling back. Rifleman going straight for the cutoff point. He's hoping, of course, to do some more damage to my resources as well. Infantry half-track moving in, though. Rifleman slightly pulling out. And Nonsensei going straight for the fuel point. Infantry half-track, though, makes a bit of a problem for him. Infantry half-track on the move. Definitely moving about, in fact. More Panzer Grenadiers ready. Thus giving me 4 Panzer Grenadier teams. Might be time for an anti-tank half-track. Again. Better to stick to schedule. And catching the Jeep, though, a bit on its own. Blowing up some spare parts, but looks like the Jeep does make a run for it and successfully escapes. Rifleman taking up position there, and I rather can't do anything about that. Might actually end up badly. So instead I decided I have better things to do. Instead moving up my fully packed half-track towards the east. And of course, this is a shorter game. Let's go have a look at Nonsensei. I know I might shift a bit faster, but there you go. Rifleman coming down to fire. One team of Panzer Grenadiers then jump out to sort of get the most firepower out of things, while the other one in the half-track still fires, causing quite a bit of damage to the Rifleman. And a bit of damage, of course, to Nonsensei, who's quickly getting more Riflemen. Keep getting repaired by the engineers. He's not giving up on that either. And Panzer is getting attacked by Riflemen. At the same time, I'm sort of casually worrying he might take down some mines, but he's interesting enough not done that as of yet. Panzer get forced off. Half-track on the move. More Riflemen ready. Nonsensei not giving up. And the half-track actually comes under fire. Charges right at the Rifleman, hoping to protect the point. Blasting away madly. Rifleman going down, and the Jeep arriving as well can actually do nice damage against Panzer Elite light vehicles. Should not be underestimated in that capacity, actually. As it does burst, of course, it has an easier time hitting something large like that. Infantry half-track actually ends up taking quite a bit of damage. Damaged engine. Panzer escape. Try to add some more direct fire against this Rifleman. And of course, at the same time, he's sort of cutting me off from my own resources. And I'm sort of trying to do the same thing. Jeep, though, needs to be careful. Don't want to end up like his brother. There we go. Damaged engine. More Panzer arriving. Heading towards the open roads. Does gain a bit more speed as vehicles do move fast on roads. Anti-tank half-track, though, moving up. More Riflemen moving in. And there we go. Anti-tank half-track firing away with focused fire. Doing enough damage there. And rather mix, in sort of who actually owns what. That's certainly fun to note. Though it looks like this Jeep is finally done for. Out of control. Flying everywhere.
Ready for battle.
And Nonsensei is then deciding he might as well go for the BARs. Hope for something larger in terms of pushing. A bit more automatic fire. I'm basically trying to secure as much as possible at this stage of the fight. And of course, about at this stage, I begin wondering what sort of doctrine might I choose? What might benefit me? What should I prepare for? And such and such. And it's about this stage that I actually decide I want to go for Scorched Earth. And why do I go for Scorched Earth? Well, because it actually gives my Panzer Grenadiers the ability to lay down barbed wire, which of course means I can close off areas, making it a bit harder for my opponent to move about. Plus, of course, booby traps again, making things harder for Nonsensei. So in that case, I do go for it, and I do believe it's around here. Again, laying down what? But why Panzer Grenadiers, though, coming under fire? Rather than charging out, one team getting slowed down, allowing the other Panzer team to get a bit away. Others moving forwards, infantry half-track. Panzer, so these chaps are taking a lot of damage, and there we go, wire going down while the fight is going on here. And rather than charging across open ground, add an infantry half-track and troops with same automatics, never entirely the best idea. As you might have noticed, the Rifleman actually taking quite a bit of damage in the process. Defensive efficiency for the infantry half-track, Rifleman getting shredded. And looks like he has gone airborne. Fancibly enough, he's gone airborne. And now laying down a roadblock just in case, of course, he might go for some vehicles later on. Never know how things can go with these chaps. One mistake and you're in a lot of trouble, so might as well prepare just in case. I'll make things harder for the opponent. Infantry half, though, taking heavy damage. Few more shots and in fact could be going down. And the Riflemen really are pushing it. Nonsensei getting pretty aggressive. And there we go, infantry half-track though goes down. Some losses, but I'm doing moderately well. Not the same though for Nonsensei. And of course, make game analysis, current situation, well, not really the best. At least not as of yet. He might of course break through again and do a nice comeback. So of course we'll have to wait and see. But what could it do? Well, some sort of vehicle might help. Might be an idea. Of course now he's airborne. Perhaps get some airborne infantry. Push in that way. Perhaps get a strafing round there. There's certainly a few opportunities, although some mines would have helped him earlier. Of course, grenades. I think grenades could also be a great help against those Panzers. You know, get off a grenade, do some nasty damage. So of course that's also an option. And of course on the other hand, might consider getting some sort of armor, perhaps a Hotchkiss, perhaps going for the Panzer Air Command, getting some assault rifles and the armored car. I mean, there's plenty of ideas. It's just about choosing one.
Buildings to confound the enemy.
Booby traps have been chosen. Of course, note there's a difference between a Panzer Grenadier booby trap and a Kettenkrad booby trap. Panzer Grenadier booby traps do more damage and they are faster to actually set off. A Kettenkrad booby trap, a bit the opposite. It takes much longer time and of course gives your opponent more time to react. Booby trapping more point rifle and advancing up against the Panzer Grenadiers. Nonsensei pushing hard. Kettenkrad running into some engineers, that's less good. Only one team of Panzer should really hold the line. Though a fresh infantry half-track is out.
The enemy is seizing our territory.
Not going well for these Panzer might in fact go down. Or they might not. Engineers moving in, other riflemen hanging about there. Panzer getting ready to flank, riflemen pulling out. Flamethrower engineers and riflemen now against these Panzer. This is less than good and does cause a full retreat from the Panzer. And there go first booby trap, knocking out an entire infantry team for Nonsensei. The power of the booby trap can be powerful. In particular the first one, since of course then your opponent isn't expecting it in most cases. Although in this case he probably should have. And again, I basically went for it, and let's just briefly pause because I do have the time. Why did I go for Scorched Earth? Well, basically because I had a lot of territory, and of course I can't be everywhere at once. In that sense, I basically went for, well, I'll try and delay my opponent as possible, and of course booby trap the rest. So even when he does advance, it's going to be troublesome, it's going to be slow, and it's going to give me more time to react to what he does. Of course, that's what Scorched Earth can do. I mean, some people only see this, you know, artillery and... well, artillery, and I'm sort of seeing it more as, you know, defensive delay doctrine, which of course can give me more time to react and do other things. So that's how one can view it, of course. But let's return to the fight. More booby traps goes off. In this case, Nonsensei is now quite aware of what's going on, although at the same time he's quick to abandon this building, just in case that's the booby trap thing. And we are seeing defensive operations up. Assault rifles on the way as well, and getting the Marder upgrade just in case. And our friend here securing as much as possible here.
The enemy has fallen to 200 points. He must be further injured.
Infantry half-track moving about. And again, I do apologize if this seems, you know, a bit one-sided. I had some others, but they also were a bit on one side. And again, I'm sort of short on time, so I don't have the time to go through a lot of replays. Again, there's always sort of the indecision moments. I sort of went for this one because, well, I thought it had some interesting moments and sort of hope that can make up for the rather one-sided nature, which again, I deeply apologize for. I'm don't always, of course, obviously find this entertaining. But again, I mean, it's actually sees barbed wire tanks as roadblocks being used by the Panzer Elite. Another booby trap goes off. He does dodge it. Half-track and Panzer Grenadiers arrive. Infantry half-track opens up right here in the west. Medic station is actually up in for Nonsensei. And these assault grenadiers or Panzer Grenadiers are not doing too well. Another team charges in. Engineers are forced back, leaving behind only the other riflemen. Bit of damage and suppressed. In fact, slowed down by a suppressive volley from the Gewehr 43. Panzer Grenadiers with the assault rifle charge forward. Offensive veterancy for them all, increasing the accuracy, increasing the lethality. And of course using the infantry half-track to reinforce from, which is only also a nice bit. And looks like airborne are being dropped in for Nonsensei. Rifle engineers taking some losses are being pushed away. Rifle also pull away from there. Airborne are ready, but they are not quite ready, I think, to take on this half-track. At the same time, an armoured car has arrived. And he's certainly managed to do a bit of damage to my troop, but I'm also managing to hang on quite nicely to cover and other bits and thus do some nice damage to him. And this medic station sadly won't be seeing much longer. Engineers charging in at the Panzer Grenadiers, opening up with fire. Airborne moving in. Armoured car immediately blasting away those chaps, who then proceed to run into the building. Going for incendiary grenades. In fact, those get out some riflemen lobbing the incendiary grenades at the building, which it actually never happens, yet the ability was actually sort of used there. And recorded rifles are ready, doing a bit of damage. Another incendiary grenade getting lobbed at the airborne, forcing them out. Bit unfortunate there, and again, sort of sneaking out, again shifting the sort of axis of attack, going for another point. Nicely done there by Nonsensei, certainly not just going to hammer his head into a wall, but try to be as annoying and frustrating as possible. I'm certainly doing my best to sort of react, although I'm quickly getting swept away with some losses. And the armoured car quickly reacts to this.
We are losing a sector.
And more booby traps. Lots more booby traps. And of course in this case he basically just moves past the point, and then of course you can get right back to capturing it. Rather than getting fired out from this case, it actually ends up being the roadblock actually sort of being a bit of a problem for me. Kettenkrad in danger. Mine's going down for Nonsensei. Looks like it might be stopped by the arrival of the anti-tank half-track. Yes, indeed.
Attention, the enemy advances.
And I've been running into a lot of problems. More Panzer Grenadiers of the 2nd Panzer Division. And the armoured car thus resulting in a full infantry team lost. Airborne are ready, getting reinforced, moving up. Engineer team lost to that armoured car, giving it offensive veterancy, thus increasing the accuracy and the rate of fire. And I rather like shooting things faster and more accurately. I've been caught out in the west. And all a bit quiet, all a bit quiet. A bit too quiet, perhaps? I mean, I'm sort of a bit stumped, you know. I mean, I've seen players cut back from this to me, and then I end up losing it from these sort of stages. So I'm still, you know, quite wary. I'm still, you know, unsure what might happen. Marder Free, though, gets ready just in case he decides to pull something. And another booby trap, which actually managed to kill one airborne. And a few Panzer gets fired from the wreck of an infantry half-track. Armoured car moves in, opens up on the airborne, rushes right past it. Although it does manage to get hit. Another medic station up for Nonsensei. I mean, it's great to see he's not giving up on it. Quite nice. Panzer goes with the BARs arriving. And lobbing an incendiary grenade at the airborne, doing a bit of damage there as well. Forcing them out of cover as well. And managed to do quite a bit of damage as they're running into the fire again to sort of gain some covers. That's a bit detrimental to their purpose, which is staying alive.
The enemy is down to only 50 points.
More incendiary grenades, more panzer grenadiers, more assault rifles. Well, these chaps actually, because I flew too soon, actually, now do cause a bit of a problem. I can't advance too far either. And these panzer grenadiers are just standing about. So that's great there. Group seal to sort of, you know, get a bit more toughness out of my infantry just in case. Again, I'm quite wary of Nonsensei. I do know he's a good player, so of course he might pull some sort of nasty surprise on me. And the tank half-tank in problems. Have actually managed to gain veterancy. And something for those panzer grenadiers as well. More veterancy, in fact. And actually trying to wire off this area, but gets stopped. And the assault continues.
The enemy is seizing our territory. Taking fire!
Airborne running into a bit of problems there. In fact, down to only one victory point. And I'd quite frankly at this stage justly forgotten about that. I'm just more worried about something happening. He's actually managed to get a rifleman team ready.
Research has granted us the ability to perform advanced repair.
Airborne getting sorted out. This is, pretty much it. GG, apparently a bit surprised or something, or shocked, I'm not sure. And there we go. I mean, again, yes, one-sided, quite certainly too much, but again, lack of time, and again, lack of sort of time to sort of go through all those replays, so I sincerely apologize. Of course, I'll make up to you for it tomorrow, I hope. Of course, if you still like it, great. I mean, I certainly hope it still managed to teach you some things, you know, about trying to, you know, use other things in the Panzer Elite that you might not always use, and of course, again, that the infantry half-tank is pretty damn nice. So, I mean, what can we learn? Well, besides, you know, sort of deciding what doctrine you go on, deciding on what your current situation is. And of course, the sort of tactical and strategic considerations that might go into it. For example, in this case, you know, using scorched earth to essentially delay my opponent and his advances, thus giving me more time to react in force. And again, I mean, you know, don't charge an infantry half-tank. I mean, we also saw that rather interesting attempt. It might actually work. It could really have set me back, but there was sort of the counter issue that at the same time, while he was sort of pushing off, hoping to delay my capping, he was delaying his own capping. Sort of paradoxical, and it actually sort of ended up strangling him a bit, I fear. And I wish we'd seen more mines from him. I mean, that's to see the medic station up. I'd been better to place it there rather than there or there. But again, that's just sort of my ideas. So there you go. I do hope you've enjoyed this game. I really do. If you didn't, well, of course, I apologize. But of course, there's always tomorrow. And of course, feel free to send any replays. This is ImperialDane saying cheers.